Welcome to ABC Interactive English. Hello, everyone. I am Mike.
And I am Nina. Today we're doing part 1 of Don't Follow the Crowd. You know, this reminds me of a social experiment that I've seen before.
Okay.
So in this setting, there are a group of people who are actors. They are waiting at a clinic. So they all sit down and this girl comes in. She's not an actor. And she notices that there's a beep sound that happens every few minutes.
Okay.
And every time the beep happens, everyone stands up and sits back down.
All the people in the room will hear beep.
And
they stand up and then they sit down. Why are they doing? There's no reason.
She has no idea, no reason.
Okay.
But she realized that the crowd was doing it, so she started doing it too.
Everybody else is doing it, so I should do it too. That's following the crowd, right? Doing what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, and after everyone else left, she kept doing it by herself.
What?
Yes.
All the other people leave.
Yeah.
And then she's still doing it, but she doesn't know why.
She doesn't know why.
But there's no one else there. She's alone.
Exactly. She just thinks that she's supposed to be doing it because everyone else was doing it.
Wow, interesting. So she was following the crowd even after the crowd went away.
Exactly. I feel like in this situation, if you don't understand what's going on, you should ask, why are we doing this?
Right.
And think for yourself.
Don't always follow the crowd without thinking. So here when we say a crowd, we don't just mean a big group of people, right? I mean, if you're in a movie theater, the movie's over, you should probably follow the crowd out the door, right? Don't look for a special way to leave. So we're not talking about that. Of course, in a busy place, at an airport, you'll follow the crowd onto the plane. But here, we're kind of talking about think for yourself. Don't just copy what everyone else is doing.
Exactly.
Because maybe it's not something you want to do. Just because everyone else is doing it doesn't mean it's right, like standing up when there's a noise for no reason. Very interesting. All right, let's check out our article. Remember, guys, don't follow the crowd, but do follow us to read this story.
Okay.
People are social animals. We like to be among others. What's more, we want to feel like we belong. So, we often follow the crowd and copy their actions without thinking. That's herd behavior, and it's very common among animals like sheep.
All right, so yeah, this is a common piece of advice when people say don't follow the crowd. They mean think for yourself. Don't just copy or go along what everybody else is doing. But we do have this word crowd in our title, so let's talk about that for a moment.
Okay, so crowd is a large group of people, or sometimes just the majority of people, right? That's the crowd.
Okay.
For example, a big crowd waited for the concert to start.
Oh, okay.
So we don't want to follow this big group of people, right?
We don't?
Always.
Not always.
Yeah, we have to think first. Why are we doing this?
That is a good thing to do. All right, so let's find out all about this. It says, people are social animals. Basically meaning people like friends, people have families. We like to be with each other, or as it says, we like to be among others. Yeah, sure, some of us like to be on our own. Sometimes it's nice to spend time alone, but generally people get along with other people, and this is something a lot of us need in our lives. We are social animals. Social meaning among others, in a group, in society. We could also talk about animals being social animals. Dolphins are social animals, right? They often travel in groups. Sharks, no, not so much. Sharks are usually on their own. Lions are social animals. They live in a big family called a pride. Tigers, not social animals. Tigers are usually off on their own, maybe with their babies, but they do not live in packs. They do not live in groups like humans and many other animals do. Let's go over to Tina. She is our favorite social animal when it comes to teaching us about grammar and vocabulary.
Hello, I'm Tina. 今天的主题是不要随波逐流。有的时候我们不知不觉就想跟大家一样，做一样的事，去一样的地方。你也是这样吗？我们先来看一看刚刚课文里提到的单字。Crowd 名词，群体，人群。The concert ended with a loud cheer from the crowd. 演唱会结束时，人群爆发出热烈的欢呼。Concert 指的是演唱会。Social 形容词，群居的，社交的。Dolphins are social animals and like to swim together. 海豚是群居动物，喜欢一起游泳。接着我们回到课文当中。
All right, so yes, I think most of us would agree, and scientists do tell us, people are social animals. We like to be with others. We're in groups. We're with our friends. We're with our family. We're with our classmates or coworkers because that's where we have to be, but we get along with others.
Yes, we do.
But that's not all.
What's more, we want to feel like we belong. Okay, so when you belong, it's to feel part of a group or place. For example, she feels like she belongs in this team. I think most people want to feel like they belong to a group of people, right?
Right, absolutely. When they're trying to make new friends, people might say, oh, find things you have in common. Find things that you both like, that you both enjoy. If you like the same team, you might wear the same sports shirt. If you like the same music, you might listen and go to the same concerts.
Yes.
That makes you feel like a pack, like a tribe, like a family.
Yeah.
We feel like we belong and we're not just on the outside all alone, right? Because yeah, that is of course a normal thing for most people. So because of this, because of the kinds of animals that we are, so we often follow the crowd and copy their actions without thinking. Because we're so afraid of not belonging. We have such a need to be social animals and get along with everyone. When they say we're going to do this, you might go, okay. You don't say, what are you going to do? You just say, okay, because that's your family, that's your group, right? But that might not always be the smart thing to do. But the smart thing to do now for sure is to go over and talk to Tina. So that's what we're going to do.
Sounds good.
我们来看一下课文中的单字。belong 动词，属于，有归属感。After moving to a new city, Sharon finally found a place where she belonged. 搬到新城市后 ，Sharon 终于找到了自己有归属感的地方。文法则是提到了 without 加上 VING， 没有做某事。Without 是介系词，指的是不，没有。我们来看看这个例句。David left the party without telling anyone. David 没有告诉任何人就离开了派对。接着我们回到课文当中。
Thank you, Tina. So we were talking about following other people's footsteps or doing what they're doing, right?
Without thinking.
Exactly. That's herd behavior. And it's very common among animals like sheep. You know, that's why there's this other saying or word called sheeple, right?
Sheeple.
Yeah.
What is sheeple?
It means when people act like sheep and just copy what others do.
Everyone's doing it, so I should do it. Why are you doing it? I don't know. You're kind of being like a herd animal. A herd is like a big group of sheep or cows. And it's true, when you see one sheep run this way, all the other sheep run after that sheep. They don't really know where that guy is going.
They just follow.
They're just like, we got to follow him, we got to follow him. And of course, if you're a sheep and you're, you know, staying safe from being eaten by a wolf, it might be good to be in a big pack or a herd or a group. But as a person, right, when you're talking about things you do, the choices you make, the things you like, it isn't always good to just follow along with everyone without thinking for yourself. So that's what we're going to be looking at in the second part of the article, which we will go to right now. Follow us, everyone. Come along this way.
All right. See you after the break.
Following the crowd makes people feel safe. It also takes less effort than thinking for yourself. Herd behavior isn't all good, though. You don't question others' actions. You don't say no when something is wrong. More importantly, you lose sight of your own values.
All right, so sheep, of course, will follow the herd. It keeps them safe out there in the dangerous world they live in. But people also follow the herd, right? Suddenly your friends are doing something or wearing a certain style, so you start doing it too. You don't always think about it. It feels better to follow the herd. But why do we do that? Why do we kind of turn off our thinking and just go along with our friends?
Well, following the crowd makes people feel safe. It also takes less effort than thinking for yourself. Okay, so
good points.
Sometimes it's harder to think for yourself, especially when everyone else is doing something else. Right?
I see what you mean there. Yeah, and of course you want to fit in. You want to be part of the gang. So it feels safe, you know, and as Nina said, sometimes it's hard to think about why they're doing this and is this good for me and do I really want, you know, so you just kind of go along, right? We have that simple expression, go along to get along. You follow the herd just to stay out of trouble and, you know, have no change in your relationship. Because suddenly if you say to your friends, I don't want to do this, that might change your friendship, right?
Yeah, maybe they don't want to hang out with you anymore.
And that will make us not feel safe, as it said. Herd behavior, following the crowd, that kind of thing, isn't all good though, right? It does make sense, and sure, it might keep your life nice and simple, but it's not all good. Here's one of the main problems. You don't question others' actions. You just go, okay, when they say something, but you should really think about what you're saying okay to.
Exactly.
What they're doing, what you're agreeing to follow along, and is it good for you? You should question their actions. And yes, here we're using the word question as a verb, not a noun. I will ask you a question. You will give me an answer. That's, of course, the noun. But by asking you a question, we can use it as a verb. I am questioning you. It's not something we might use too often, right? At a restaurant, you might, I'd like to question you about the desserts today. But it's something you might read, like the police might be questioning people who saw the crime, for example.
Or you could also question someone's decision, right?
Right, ask questions about it. You have your worries and you have questions, you have things you need to know, so you will question what they are doing or ask questions about it. We would never question Tina, though. She is an absolute genius and tells us all the best stuff about vocabulary in English.
Okay.
我们来看一下刚刚课文出现的单字 question 动词质疑 The student questioned the teacher's answer in class. 学生在课堂上质疑了老师的答案。文法的部分提到了 think for oneself. 某人自己思考，指的是不依赖别人的意见，自己做判断。我们来看看这个例句 Don't just follow what others say, learn to think for yourself. 不要只是跟着别人说的做，学会自己思考。接着我们回到课文当中。
All right, so as we're learning, following the herd might seem safe and easy, but it's not always the best thing to do. You don't ask questions about what you're doing and why the group is doing it, and that might not always be good, especially, of course, for you. And then there are other things that could happen if you just always follow the herd like a sheep.
Yes. So, for example, you don't say no when something is wrong. Like maybe your group of friends want to go steal something and you know it's wrong, but you do it anyway.
Come on, you want to be cool, right? You want to join us, right? Okay, but
not a good idea.
Yeah, you know it's wrong, and if you don't have the strength to speak up and say, no, I don't want to do that, you might end up in trouble that you didn't want. More importantly, it says you lose sight of your own values. You know this is wrong in your heart, but you're not strong enough or brave enough or confident enough to say it out loud. As you said, stealing something, or even, you know, your friends are being mean to someone in your school, they're bullying that person. If you don't stand up and say, no, this is wrong, then you kind of become a bully too by not speaking up and doing the right thing. You know it's wrong to do, but you lose sight of your values because you're so afraid of being different.
Yeah, so when you lose sight of something, it means to stop seeing something or to forget about something important. So in this case is when you forget about something important, like your values, right? For example, don't lose sight of your goals. Yeah, we can't lose sight of our own values, especially when you know it's wrong and, sometimes you really don't have to follow the herd.
Yeah, I mean, if they're choosing to wear clothes in a style that you don't love, you might still okay, I'll wear the pink jacket. But if it's doing something that in your heart, in your mind, you know is wrong, that is a much more difficult thing to just give up just to be part of the gang. Let's go over to Tina. She's got great stuff to tell us, and then we'll be back to say goodbye.
Okay.
我们来看一下刚刚课文里的文法 ，lose sight of 加上名词，忘记、忽略什么。sight 在这里表示景象、所见之事。我们来看看这个例句 ：It's easy to lose sight of the main point during long meetings. 在长时间的会议中，很容易忽略主要的重点。接着我们回到课文当中。
All right, well, we've read some really good things to get us thinking about following the herd, right?
Yes, we have.
Yeah, it's definitely good to think for yourself. Sure, be with your gang, be with your friends, your club, your tribe, but also always stay true to yourself and never be afraid to speak up. Well, let's review the article one more time. We're going to go over everything again, and then we will see you back tomorrow right here with more on this very interesting and important topic. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
People are social animals. We like to be among others. What's more, we want to feel like we belong. So, we often follow the crowd and copy their actions without thinking. That's herd behavior, and it's very common among animals like sheep. Following the crowd makes people feel safe. It also takes less effort than thinking for yourself. Herd behavior isn't all good, though. You don't question others' actions. You don't say no when something is wrong. More importantly, you lose sight of your own values.
我们来复习一下这一课的重点单词跟文法。单字的部分 crowd 名词群体人群 social 形容词群居的社交的 belong 动词属于有归属感 question 动词质疑。接着我们来看文法的部分 without 加上 VING 没有做某事 Hank left without saying goodbye Hank 没说再见就离开了Think for oneself 某人自己思考 Children should learn to think for themselves 孩子应该学会自己思考 Lose sight of 加名词忘记忽略 Don't lose sight of your goals when things get difficult 当事情变得困难时也不要忘记你的目标以上就是这一课的重点单字跟文法那我们下一课再见咯拜拜
Hey, it's KiWi on the street.
I'm Kiki.
And I'm Winnie. And today we're in our kitchen and we're gonna make brownies. Let's prepare our dry ingredients. It's best to prepare the dry ingredients separately from your wet ingredients so that you don't get lumps in your mixture. We're going to sift the flour, cocoa powder, and salt with our sifter. This one you will need to because this cocoa powder is very clumpy. So you're gonna wanna sift your ingredients before you mix it with your wet ingredients because if you don't, there might be a lot of lumps and you might not get a good smooth batter. And you don't wanna bite into your brownie and have a chunk of flour just stuck in your mouth. Okay, and now please measure out a teaspoon of salt. Go. Okay. You can put it in the sifter too.
Okay.
Alrighty. Whee!
All right.
Cool. Now you have your dry ingredients. So whisk those together. Now that we have our lovely batter, we are ready to start baking it. But that's all we have for today. I hope you had fun.
Yeah, I did.
This was our first time making brownies from scratch.
From scratch.
Yeah. But it was a fun process, and hopefully you guys at home enjoyed it too. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and send us a DM or an email if there's something you want to say in English but you just don't know how. Kiki, anything you want to say?
I want the brownies.
It's coming, it's coming.
Kiwi later.